Okay, we have a second application, PB 25-02, First Reformed Church, 264 Washington Place is the church house, and adjacent is the old church, old church, I'm sorry, 1893 church, the original church. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Go right ahead, sir.
Mr. Chairman, Malcolm McPherson, 20 Park Avenue in Lyndhurst, representing the owner applicant of First Reformed Church.
Of Hasbrouck Heights.
Of Hasbrouck Heights. We previously emailed and provided to the secretary the proof of service of the property owners within 200 feet, the publication in the record within time, and the proof of payment of the real estate taxes.
Yes, everything, members of the board, everything's in order, notices are in order, so the application can proceed.
Okay. Can you give us some highlights on the Reformed Church, First Reformed Church at Hasbrouck Heights desires for that parcel?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Parcels.
As you know, the First Reformed Church of Hasbrouck Heights is the owner of the property known as 264 Washington Place. It's also known as Block 46, Lot 34. The property is presently located in the R-2 zoning district. The lot size is 150 feet in width and 144 feet in depth. It's 21,600 square feet. Presently, the property consists of two structures. As the chairman stated before, there was the initial church that was there in the one structure.
It was the original church, 1893.
And then they outgrew that and moved across the street.
1917.
You have more facts than I do right now. Maybe you should be here. But also, there's another structure on that property where the pastor used to live in that. It's a one-family dwelling. That's presently vacant.
1964.
Presently vacant. I was going to go into how the church.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
How long, if you know, how long has that been vacant? A year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years?
I would say a few years. Less than a year.
Thank you.
Because the current pastor does not live in that residence.
Correct.
Lives, I believe, out of town.
Yes, that you are correct.
What the applicant is proposing to do is really subdivide that property into two lots. One lot would be 65 feet by 144 feet, and the other lot would be 85 feet by 144 feet. Those lots would meet with the structures presently on the two proposed subdivided lots. Those structures would meet all of the bulk requirements of the zoning code for Hasbrouck Heights, except for the front yard setback of each structure, which is presently existing now. So if the board does grant the subdivision application, we would be requesting two variances, both for existing conditions from the front yard setback.
Front yard setback.
And the one structure is 24.7 feet, has a setback rather than the required 25 feet, and I believe the other structure is 11.2 feet rather than the 25-foot setback, but they're both existing. We're here tonight because the First Reformed Church of Hasbrouck Heights has a tentative buyer if the proposed subdivision goes through of the property where the would be proposed lot 30.01, where the pastor's house presently exists, that is vacant now. They would hope in the future for the other structure, as you probably know, that was occupied by the Montessori school for over 20 years, up until last year at some point. They're hoping in the future to make, there is an apartment there, to make renovations to that structure So for any new pastors that come, or the current pastor, they would be able to use that structure for the residents.
That apartment you're talking about was used originally, 25 years ago, for an intern pastor.
Right.
And the church's desires are to continue, the original church will remain, and that will be used as the apartment, which would be on the southern entrance, would be used for a pastor or a trainee pastor.
Correct.
For residents.
Correct. That's the summary I have
Okay.
right now.
Okay, so it is the church's desire, the First Reformed Church is desire to have the original church, 1893 church, remain
As it is now.
as a facility. Remain as is,
Correct.
in place.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Okay,
So, Mr. McPherson, so the existing residence will continue to be used as a residence, so that's not gonna be for any kind of church use,
Correct.
okay? And we'll have somebody testify on behalf of the church.
Yes.
To just confirm that.
Correct.
okay, do you, okay. Any board member wish to question the legal representative on what he testified to? No? Okay, any member of the public? Questions, come on up. Questions for Mr. McPherson on his testimony, not comments, on his testimony. We'll get the comments in a minute. Few
Hi,
minutes.
Kathy Kelly, 303 Washington Place. I'm just wondering, it's just looking to subdivide in order to sell the parsonage?
Correct.
Okay. And it's not making changes to the structures?
None.
No,
Okay.
as is.
Okay.
Will remain as.
Thank you.
Mrs. Kelly, 303 Washington Place. They're on the
Yes.
other side of the,
Mhm.
on the other side of Burke Avenue, on the
Yes.
east side of Burke.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody, okay. Public, any other members of the public questions on testimony? None? Public portion is closed. Mr. McPherson, we
Stacy
have,
Curl?
any other
Yes, we have the vice president
of the
for the
consistory?
for the First Reformed Church.
Okay, the vice president of consistory, come on up and join us. Go right ahead.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
I do.
And could you please state your name and spell your last name?
My name is Stacy Kuhl, Kuhl.
Thank you. What is your position?
I'm the vice president of consistory.
That's the governing body of the First Reformed Church of Hasbrouck Heights.
Now, you're familiar with the property at 264 Washington Place?
Yes.
And we reviewed the proposed subdivision map drawing that was filed with the planning board by Butler Surveying and Mappin Inc.
Yes.
And do you know the size of the lot?
The whole lot is
Yeah.
144 by 150, and the parsonage lot that we would like to sell is 85 by 144 deep.
And so you were asking for a subdivision of two lots, one being 65 feet in width and the other being 85 feet in width, and the length would be 144 feet.
Yes.
Now, you heard my testimony, you heard the chairman's testimony regarding the history of that property. Now, where the structure where the existing church was, is
Not gone.
not, that's true. Can you give a brief history of what that structure was utilized for?
The original church was used, once we were using the new church for everything else, the little church was used for Sunday school, youth group, housing, intern
Bergen County
pastors.
Council of Churches
Bergen
had
County,
offices
yeah.
there.
And so it was
Church
used for
related.
various, church
It was all
related.
church related, back before Montessori came
Yes.
in.
And then when Montessori was looking for a place to rent, over 20 years ago, we started renting to them. They've been using it for many years. They vacated in June. And so now it needs a lot of refurbishments, but we would like to possibly recreate an apartment there so that we have housing for a pastor since we are selling the parsonage, hopefully.
And
The
the,
Montessori school used the whole facility, and the sanctuary area was their major area.
That was
Major
the classroom.
Okay.
and the other structure is a single-family dwelling,
A large one, but yes.
and who resided there?
The parsonage was used by the pastor up until, I want to say
10
about
years ago.
15 years ago, and then we had a renter
Fred
in there.
Diekman,
Oh, no, Diana Smith was after him.
I know that.
Yeah.
I know that. Did she live there also?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
She vacated and we were without a pastor for about 2 years, and in that time, we needed some income, so we rented it, and we rented it for about 10 years.
That
And
was
that,
about 10 years ago, you're correct.
yeah, and then that tenant has recently left in, less than a year ago. And so,
And that property is presently vacant, that dwelling?
yeah.
And I reviewed all of the zoning requirements that are set forth on the proposed subdivision map with you. And the proposed subdivision with the existing structures as they are now would comply with all of the zoning requirements except for the front yard setbacks. And that would be the only variance that would be requested by the applicant. But the existing structures would remain the same.
Two existing structures will remain in place.
Correct.
All right. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Board members, questions for the applicant's owner's representative on her testimony? Okay, no questions from the board. Any member of the, yes?
Mr. Chairman, I just have one question. You mentioned an apartment. Would there be any other activities going on in the former church building besides the apartment?
Well, I mean, it could be used for a youth group or something like that, like it had been in the past.
Probably would be used as that used to be the kindergarten primary area. Could go back to that for Sunday school. There was an apartment, if you walk in that door on Washington's Place, there was the Bergen County Council of Churches, and the one door, you went in the front door, if you want to call it that would be the old sanctuary. In the back, or to the south of the sanctuary, was the apartment. And that would house, was big enough for one person. Maybe two, but usually one.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm sure that they will try and renovate that apartment for use as for a guest minister, for an interim minister, for a student minister. First and foremost, go ahead.
No, sorry, any use would be consistent with what the zoning ordinance permits.
Correct.
So we're just addressing the subdivision and the two existing conditions, which would
Yes.
technically variances, so.
Correct.
And you understand there'll be a condition that the house, the former parsonage, has to be used for residential purposes.
Oh, yeah.
It can't be used as a church or anything like that.
Nope.
The reason we ask is because it changes the zoning requirements, so we just have to
Oh,
put
no,
that
it's
as a condition.
being used for family.
Very good.
I have one quick question. Parsonage, church house, basement, water-related issues, yea or nay?
It did, there were
On
some.
other ones? I
Yes.
know it. Now,
It's
confess it.
supposed to be fixed now.
It's supposed to be, when did that happen?
Within the last couple of months, I think.
Okay, so it was fixed once before, I would say 25 years ago, so I guess it wasn't fixed. Okay,
This one was a good one.
okay, okay. Any member of the board questions? Okay. Public portion comments on the testimony. Comments on, come on up. Comments for or against, you want it, you don't want it?
I had, one comment and also one question.
Just state your name again, please.
My name is Kathy Kelly, 303 Washington Place. If you
Is that-
subdivide,
Is that the key for property?
yes. Where will the intern pastor or the pastor park? Because there will be no longer any parking. If you have the apartment in the little church and you have, gotten rid of the parsonage, where would they park?
Well, that playground area of the little church is a driveway.
Okay.
So
Used to be a
there's an
driveway.
apron.
Used to be a
Okay.
driveway.
So that would probably be made
Where
into
you
a
would-
driveway
Used
if
to
we
park-
were to
used-
use it. Yeah, you're talking about off-street parking.
Right,
Yeah.
because they can park on the street.
Used to
Yes.
park there prior to Montessori.
Okay, and the other comment would be, there is still some water issues because you can see how much water comes out, but also as people have moved out in the last month, there have been items that have been thrown out marked water damage. So there is still water
In the,
issues,
in the basement?
from the parsonage house.
In the basement of
It
the
must be.
parsonage, of the church house?
Yeah, it must be.
There's still, you see,
He just saw
pumping-
something thrown out recently, a TV that said water
Yeah,
damage
yeah.
on it.
I think that might be old stuff, because I did see, I was in the basement, and that
Okay.
rear wall, cinder block wall has been repaired, and they
Okay.
did pipe it, so I think the repairs have been made.
Okay.
So whatever they threw out might have been old stuff that was in there.
That
So-
would be an issue for the buyer and the church and home inspection report. Correct.
I just don't want it, I know how
Okay.
much it's affected other houses also.
Okay. Any other member of the public question or comments? Comments on the applicant's testimony for or against? Okay, being none, any member of the board, questions? Professionals' questions, come on up.
Mr.
John?
Chairman, I believe we have variances of the corner lot along Burton Avenue.
Yeah, I think it'd have to be set up as two front yard setback variances, since it's corner property, one's 11, one's 6, whatever the plan says.
It's 11 and 24. Oh, 11 and 6.
11 and 6, the side yard, yeah, so I'll put that in the resolution, it's a pre-existing condition, it's not being affected, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
I'm good with it, Mr. Chairman.
any board members' comments, questions? No? Appropriate, we have a motion for or against the application, First Reformed Church at Hasbrouck as presented. For or against?
Mr. Chair, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the application as given.
As submitted.
As submitted.
Okay, we have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second. Can we have a roll call vote?
Henry Dover.
Yes.
Eric Mason.
Yes.
Kenneth Hempel.
Yes.
Marlene Verastro.
Yes.
Al Pupo.
Yes.
Dan Whitson.
Yes.
Councilman Malone.
Yes.
Mayor Kishner.
Yes.
Rita Perdomo.
Thank you.
Folks, you'll be back in,
You can prepare deeds, right?
Yes.
Subdivision deed.
And I'll send it to you.
resolution in the April meeting.
Thank you. Thank you.